right, folks, welcome aboard the Friday edition of the Steve Malzberg Show. In just a minute, we'll be joined by Bill Donohue, president of the Catholic League, to discuss, among other things, the...
Steve, look, just come up.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize.
Wait. Give me a count. Give me a count.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the technical difficulties, but we're having some. So welcome aboard. It's Friday, so we can deal with anything because it's Friday, and that means 2 hours, and it'll be the weekend. But it's going to be a good 2 hours, I promise you. I want to start this show off by saying that I'm very disappointed but not surprised once again in the President of the United States. We today here in New York City buried a hero, the young officer, 25 years old, who died after being shot in the face last Sunday in the line of duty, arresting a thug who spent 5 years in prison for attempted murder. Why you get out of prison after 5 years for attempted murder, I do not know. I do not know the answer to that question. Nonetheless, he succumbed to his injuries a day later, this past Monday, and died. And if you've been watching the show, you know we've talked about that extensively. He was buried today. Tens of thousands of police officers from all over the country, gathered for the funeral. Now, you may recall when Michael Brown, a thug who attacked a cop, grabbed a cop's gun, shot the gun off, ran from a cop, and then charged at a cop. When Michael Brown was laid to rest, the Obama administration, let's be real here, Barack Obama, sent not one, not two, but 3 different presidential representatives from different departments to that funeral. 3. Okay? And guess what? How many do you think were at the funeral for the police officer today? None. Absolutely none. I'm not surprised. It's a disgrace. It's who Barack Obama is. He sent a message by sending those 3 representatives to the funeral of a thug who attacked a police officer, and today he completed that message by sending nobody to the funeral of a 25-year-old police officer who gave his life and was gunned down by another thug. Michael Brown didn't succeed at killing Darren Wilson. The thug in New York succeeded in his quest to take down a police hero. All right, joining us now is Bill Donohue. At least I think he's joining us now. We spoke to him just moments before we took to the air. And I don't know, crew, do we have him? Do we not have him? All right, here we go.
I'm not going to do that. I think pornographic images are wrong. If it's an inoffensive depiction, so what if the Muslims don't like it? Now, when we get to this situation here, I was on Pam Geller's side on a number of issues prior to this. I think if you want to have a conference and demonstrate free speech rights and condemn ISIS, that's good. I'm all in favor of that. And you should not back down because some Muslims don't like it. This I saw as unnecessary. I thought this is somewhat juvenile. Let's see what we can do to tick off the Muslims now by having these depictions. I don't think it accomplishes anything. Does she have a legal right? Of course she has. I don't even think that's an issue. Although I hear all these lawyers on TV saying she has a legal right. Well, who the hell ever said she didn't?
Well, there were some who were saying it's the same as shouting fire in a crowded theater, which it's not, but that would not be.
No, it's not. No. And the people who are responsible for the killing are obviously the killers. And thank God that they're dead and not some innocent cops.
Right.
I'm simply saying, I'm questioning the moral propriety of it. I'm saying, is it prudential? Is it wise to go down this path? Why not have the conference, like I say, and condemn the bad guys, instead of playing this game where a lot of Muslims who themselves are good people will say, wait a minute, this looks like a little salt in our wound.
Right.
That's where I draw the line on
okay,
that.
but let me play devil's advocate here.
Sure.
First of all, Greta, for instance, said, oh, how dare they put the police at risk? Well, I mean, so there's always a danger at any protest that police will get hurt or trouble will break out. So would Greta say ban protests? Because, but beyond that, let's say the next dictate from these radical extremist Muslims is no more women on TV. And if Fox doesn't fire all their women and get them off the air, that building is a target. See, wait, would Greta then stay home and say, oh, I don't want to put police at risk, I quit? And would we capitulate to that?
No, see, and I understand that's a legitimate point. That's why I opened up with the discussion of Danish cartoons. They weren't pornographic. They were simply depictions. Some people don't like it. It's just too bad. I don't like pornographic images of Moses or Christ or Muhammad or any other religious figure, Martin Luther King. But and this situation here, it just seemed to me adolescent. What are you accomplishing?
But I don't know, were these cartoons pornographic?
No, they weren't. Yeah. But I mean, the whole idea is to say, we're going to stand up, we're not going to take it. Why not deal with it in a serious way? Because otherwise, I understand your point, and it's totally legitimate.
But isn't it serious to practice what they consider free speech? Is it by practicing it a serious way of standing up to it?
I think that if you want to go down that road, then we're going to have these little cartoon contests about everybody else's religion.
Well, but Saturday Night Live had Christ, a fake movie trail of Christ returning with a machine gun and mowing everybody down. People laughed. Nobody burnt anybody, killed anybody?
Let me just say this. What bothers me more than Pamela on this, and I don't agree with her at all, I think she intentionally insults people, but the New York Times went ballistic yesterday. They went bonkers protecting Muslims. Let me tell you something. I wrote a PhD dissertation on the ACLU and 2 books on them, and when the Nazis went into Skokie in 1978 in Illinois, the New York Times was never as exercised about the Nazis as they are about Muslims. They've defended every vile depiction against my religion, Brooklyn Museum of Art, elephant tongue on a Virgin Mary, crucifix in urine, the Smithsonian, when I complained about the ants on the cross of Jesus, they go crazy. The New York Times is very, very sensitive when it comes to bigotry against Muslims. Well, not so much against Jews, and certainly not against Catholics.
Well, you wrote a great piece at Newsmax.com. Everybody could check it out at Newsmax.com about the New York Times and women.
Yeah, because they're saying the other day the Catholic Church undervalues women. They got 29 people on their masthead. 66% of them are male. The top 6 positions, 100% of them are male. This is a newspaper which has been sued by women and had to pay out for 562 women for sex discrimination. They got rid of Janet Robinson. Then they replaced her with a man. She ran the Times, a company. They got rid of Abramson, replaced by a man. And by the way, during the course of my investigation, guess what newspaper in the United States was against the woman's right to vote in 1920?
The New York Times.
The New York Times.
I win a new car.
My God, yeah. I don't need any lectures from the New York Times about undervaluing women.
Well, so how did they get away with this? I mean, you were able to find this out.
It's not easy. I'll tell you the truth, though. It's not easy. But I do the research on this, and I can back up everything I've said.
Oh, no, I'm sure you can, and it's a great piece. Everybody check it out at Newsmax.com. So the New York Times, let's see, defended the Nazis in Skokie, blasphemy against Jesus and Catholics and Christians, but when it comes to the Muslims,
they went crazy on Pamela Geller. Look, I don't agree with Pamela Geller, but they treated her unfairly. And they went the other way, over the top with a hammer.
And they give the impression that they're fighting for women's rights and they care about women and equal pay, blah blah blah. Yeah. When in fact you've uncovered that they treat women like how would you describe how do they treat women?
Well, they undervalue them according to their own language. But I think what I find is striking too, that 66% of all the top jobs are held by males in the masthead there, but the secretary, the lowest one,
they're women.
It's a woman.
It's a woman.
Yeah. Well, they managed to get the woman there.
And of course Hillary, her foundation and her Senate staff paid women less and men. It's a great hypocrisy, ladies and gentlemen.
Jill Abramson found out that Bill Keller was making more in the same position as her. Then they found out that she succeeded him as managing editor, and when he was managing editor, she was still making more than her, and John Geddes was operations manager, and he was making more than her.
Have a great weekend, my friend. Bill Donohue, check it out at Newsmax.com. Check out his book, The Catholic Advantage. We're coming back with Brent Badowski of The Hill.